Good morning, church. Did you enjoy that? Enjoy is really not the word, is it? Did you feel that? Amen. See, Mahalia is reminding us of what is important if I can help somebody. Today is Valentine's Day, and of course, Hallmark cards says, thank you for Valentine's Day. All the florists out there saying, yay, Valentine's Day. And so we have a commercialization of this day because it's about love. I'm here this morning to remind us that, love doesn't need Valentine's Day for us to express it. Love just says, I gotta come out. Love is in our hearts and saying, I gotta express myself. And that's where we are on this day, expressing love, not because it's Valentine's Day, but because we have to do this. Church, we have to help somebody. Now, of course, we know that February, the shortest month of the year, is Black History Month. And it's okay that it's the shortest month of the year because Black history reminds us that Black history is American history, right? And so that every single day of this month, we're reminded of how important it is to not obscure the value of the human beings called Black, African Americans, Negroes, and at one time colored. All of those names were put upon us. We were racialized because racism came before race. We had to be different. So Black History Month says, we see you. Black people are saying that to America. We see you, America. We know who you are, and we're not going to stand for just being the servants all the time. However, I want to move into this idea of serving versus servants. You see, church, on this august pulpit have stood many people who have preached on the sermon of being able to understand how God is within. And you understand God is within by doing something on the outside, by exercising what is within. That's how you understand where it came from. If you never give, you can never understand that you have something to give. So it's important then in a pulpit to remind us how important it is to give. You see, Africans came to these shores understanding how important it is to give because Africans came with a spirituality. We came here understanding that maybe there was an indigenous religious belief on those shores in Africa. Maybe they were Muslim because Islam was present in the shores, and maybe even there were some Christians, because we remember that there were trade routes between Central Asia, otherwise known as the Middle East, otherwise known as East Africa, and West Africa. There were caravans that traverse those passes. You see, we have to remind folks that we didn't come here not knowing anything. We came here with spirituality. We also came here with skills. And those skills were used to better those who enslaved us. We knew how to grow things. We knew how to tend to things. We knew how to make something out of nothing. We knew that already. And so with free labor, this country prospered. This country was able to move beyond the rudiments of culture because we taught as we lived. We nurtured each other. Even though families were split up, we never lost sight of the fact that we were part of something. Church, it's important to remind our country, America, that though you didn't count us as full human beings, we never discounted ourselves. You see, church, the thing about those degrading actions that were put upon us, that degradation, the thing about all of that is that people understood that's not me. Because I see who I am in my brother and my sister. I take care of them and they take care of me. That's communal, church. We came here understanding communalism, community, communication. We came here understanding that that is who we are. So though the bad old days of slavery and segregation and poverty, those bad old days are still within some people, I grew up in a segregated community that said, you are somebody every single day. It wasn't just in my household. It was in the schools. It was in the churches. It was in the neighborhoods that people said, you are somebody. The communal understanding of who we are was passed down. So in my little neighborhood of Sapulpa, where I grew up, and of course I did live in Muskogee, and Brother Marlon knew me coming from Muskogee, but when I grew up, I was in Sapulpa. I was born here in Tulsa at the Black Hospital. That was called Moulton Hospital. I say that because I'm a native Tulsan, But I grew up in Sapulpa, just down the road. And then Sapulpa, in my little segregated community, there was a church a block away where my grandfather pastored. There was a school a block away across the street from the church where all my brothers and sisters had attended from the 1st through the 12th grade. There were teachers in that school who had taught my parents' church. There were little stores all around where we used to get nickel candy and all that sort of thing, church. There were people who said to me, how you doing? And they meant it, church. They meant, how are you doing? I had friends who would tell me, we'd be riding our bicycle and there you were underneath that shade tree reading. And then we'd come back from being somewhere getting into trouble, and there you were under that shade tree still reading. Now, those people who said that were not making fun. They said that because look at the discipline that young man has. And maybe some of those folks got off those bicycles and they started reading because of what I was doing. There was a lady up the street named Miss Sales who got commodities. Y'all know what commodities are? You know, that's the government cheese and that sort of thing, the butter. Well, you know, that's what happens when you are poor in a neighborhood. You got food assistance. But that lady up the street, Miss Sales, would come out on her back porch and she would yell, Jerry, because that was my name in those days, Jerry. And I would come out because I heard my name, and Miss Sales would say, tell your mama to send you on up here to get some thing. And we all knew what that thing was. My mother would say, go on over there and get some. You see, church, communal living meant helping one another. Communal living meant that you may go through some bad times, but there were friends all around you. There were people saying, what's the matter? How you doing? How can I help you? Church, that didn't come from out the sky. That came from how you were treated, how people understood each other to be. a person of worth and dignity. Now, church, I'm preaching this sermon because we need to be reminded, church. We need to be reminded we are not alone. You see, the dominant culture is all about being up there, being a hero, being outstanding by yourself. Now, church, that doesn't even make sense, does it? How did you just automatically learn? Yeah, I was reading those books because my mother took me to the library to get the library card to get them. Yeah. The library said, here, because we want you to read them. It was all part of helping one another. Now, our dominant culture says, just leave all those other people behind and stand apart. But church, that's not really the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be in a communal sense, part of one another. So I'm here this morning to remind you that the hero thing, sometimes we get messed up with that because we want to be that high up there, that altitude, church. We want to fly high, but it's the attitude that will get you to the altitude. You see, the attitude, how are you? Are you moving in a way that is helping one another? Well, you'll find yourself up there if you are. So the hero thing is not the best thing. Now, I know we've all been touched by that hero because it's all around us. The dominant culture is always promoting the best, the best, the best, the best, the brightest. And so I wanted to be part of that too. And I remember how I went to my father and I told him I wanted to cut the yard. I didn't want to be standing by and letting him cut it. I wanted to cut the yard. I wanted to be praised for being able to cut the yard. And my dad said, whenever my dad was dealing with me in a way that said, ooh, he would breathe through his teeth. He'd do that, that little sound that said, oh my goodness. And he said, because I always have had an issue with eyesight. And my dad thought, oh Lord, this young boy gonna cut his fingers off. He's gonna do something because he can't see that well. He got these big old glasses on, and he goes, "Son, you'll cut the yard later." And whenever I got that teeth sucking sound, I knew that's a no. I knew that was a no. But then I kept pestering my father. So one day he told me, he said, "Son, you gotta know how to work. You can't just go run out there and be a hero. Run out there and and you got to know how. So you got to use what you have to learn how to do stuff." And I didn't understand what he meant. But what he meant was this. He said, before you cut the yard, walk around the yard. Feel the ground underneath your feet. Feel the little divots. He said, look and see where the edges are. See, look at the terrain, the hill, the climb, the incline, so that you may have to move the lawnmower down a little bit. He said, walk around the yard and look and see where there may be there's an old tree stump out there, the little bit piece still sticking up. He said, know before you go. That's what my dad said. So the other day, my wife was telling me that the guy that does our landscaping is a personal friend of mine. We've been knowing each other for many, many years. And she said, he does something that's really, whenever I tell him I would like something done, he asks me to come with him. And we stand where she wants something done. He stands right there. And he looks and sees what's going on. And I smiled because I said, that's what my daddy used to do. He knows how to work. You look to see what you're going to need, what kind of tools you're going to need, how you're going to get it done. You set aside some time because you say, how long is this going to take? You got to know how to work. So, church, on this morning, I'm trying to tell you something about helping one another. It's not about rushing in and saving the day and saying, look at me, I'm a hero. I did something great. It's about the attitude that you have, the attitude, what you approach the job with, how you are saying, how can we make something better than what it was? We're in a time right now, church, where we need to be asking that question every single day. How can we make something better than what it is today? Now, we got a head start on a lot of other people. You know we do, because we have this thing called the covenant. We have a covenant where we say love is the spirit of this church, and service is his law. Church, have you thought about that? Service is his law. Service means serving. It's not about being less than. I'm a servant to you because you way up there and I'm down here. No, it's not about being a servant. It's about serving. It's about being able to say, I want to help somebody. Mahalia said, if I can help somebody. Every single day, church, we need to be thinking like that. How can we help somebody? Now, some folks may say, well, I ain't able, Reverend. I'm in this wheelchair. I'm blind, can't see nothing visually. I'm old. Reverend, you're asking too much. How can I help somebody? I mean, people need to be asking, how can they help me? What you talking about? And I'm saying to you, church, as long as you breathing, as long as you have an attitude of service, you can help somebody. You can do it, and you'll find out when. Because that's the beautiful thing about living. You have opportunities all the time to help somebody. That's where we are right now. Service is his law. Law. Now, we've been hearing a lot about law. The Constitution, that's a law. All those policy laws. Some policies are meant to discriminate. That's that bad word, but it's true. Some policies are meant to separate and discriminate, but church service is different. That's a law that you can agree to because it's about helping. So what do we say? Love is the spirit of the church. That's what animates us, love. And service, that's what comes out, is his law. Then, what are we going to do with that? How are we going to do that? How are we going to do it? This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace. Now, church, how are we going to dwell together in peace? Well, if you serving one another, you're not fighting one another. And if you're not fighting, you're thinking about doing justice. And if you're doing justice, then you got peace. Yeah, church, it all works together, doesn't it? If you're serving, you're doing justice. If you're doing justice, you're going to have peace. So to dwell together in peace, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. But as we go, we're going to seek the truth in love. Because seeking the truth means doing away with this hero thing, doing away with the dominant culture saying you got to be better than other people, doing away with the idea that somebody is less than you, that we all have dignity and worth, church. Why would we even go there? But we're seeking the truth in love. We open our hearts, the spirit that we have. That's love. We open our hearts, we seek the truth, and yes, we learn. And when you learn that people have been hurt, you seek a remedy for that person. Just like they were sick, you seek a remedy. Now, some people say, that sounds like reparations. Yeah, it is. It's repairing the harm. That's called a remedy. That's what doctors do. They give us remedies. We go to the drugstore to get remedies. So we seek the truth in love in order to remedy any kind of unlove, dislove, and separation from being a communal spirit. Church, that's what I'm trying to say. We got a head start on folks because we already made that covenant. We made that covenant to seek the truth in love. And then, what do we say? To help one another. That's it. Church, that is what we do. It's kind of simple, isn't it? It's kind of simple. Yeah, it is. But if you do it every day, it becomes strong. It may be simple, but it's unbreakable. You know, Marlon and I, several years ago, were part of the contingent that worked to remedy the situation of those race massacre survivors. And so we urge other congregations around this city to give money in order to remedy, to give just something to those survivors. Because we were saying to them, we see you, and we know that what happened there needed a remedy, and we're trying to do that. Now, parenthetically, we were also saying to the city and the state, you too have some what do they call that? You got responsibility. That's the word I'm looking for, but instead that's something in the game. You too have some responsibility. And so our congregations came together and we distributed money twice, around $200 twice, to those survivors. We did that. We did that. One human being who wrote the checks, who came out of this congregation, her name is Julie Sky. Julie Sky told me when she wrote the checks, she would take that check, she would put it to her chest, and she would give a blessing from her heart to whoever would receive that check, that they would understand that this is done in love. We're helping one another. Julie Scott told me that. I don't think she told a lot of people, but she told me. She said, I did that. Every single check, I gave a blessing to that person. And those people responded. Some people wrote back beautiful letters saying, we didn't expect this, but we appreciate this. And you people who are doing this, you understand. You understand. You didn't have anything to do with 1921. But you have a lot to do with right now, that you can make us understand we are somebody within this whole household of God, that we are part of this as well. Church, help one another. That's what I'm saying on this day. Mahalia sung it. I'm trying to let you know it's real. You can help one another. Yeah, you can write a check, and you may say, that's so easy. Church, it's important, especially right now. It's important to help the folks who are helping. I'm part of a group called the National Federation of the Blind. And that group, you say, okay, what y'all do? Well, we do things like buy canes for people who can't buy canes. We give people advocacy to make sure that blind people are included and not excluded. We do those things that an organized effort does, right? But we also are local. And the Tulsa chapter said, Tulsa is in trouble because we have so many people who are hungry or are being evicted. So we did fundraisers, and we raised money to give to the community food bank and to give to Restore Hope, which is helping people with pay their utilities and their rent. Blind people were doing that. We didn't ask for anybody to say, oh, look at the blind people helping one. No, we didn't do it that way. We know that that's our responsibility. We are part of the community. We are communal, and we give because we know that's what is expected of us, to be part of the community. You chip in. It's Miss Sales saying, Jerry, calling out, NFB, you too can help. Come help and receive. Because if you give, you're receiving. That's that attitude, church. You start floating up. So I'm saying to you this morning as I begin to close, because it's time. I want us all to understand this. We may not be all that we want to be, right? You know, you have goals. You want to fly high. But church, if you have the attitude that says, I am somebody, you are somebody, I cannot be all I can be until you are all you can be. So I'm going to help you and you're going to help me. That's called communal love. That is strength that comes from that church. And we use that strength to overcome all the obstacles that will be there. But that's all right, because overcoming obstacles makes us strong. And the stronger we are, the more we can give. The more we can give, the more we can help. The more we can help, the more we become all of who we are. Church, I leave you with this. Be the best you can be by being the best you can be.
Thank you for joining us. For 100 years, All Souls in Tulsa has been a beacon of this free faith. We offer our services and programs freely online for all those who are interested. You can help us to do this by making a one-time gift today or a reoccurring pledge. We really appreciate you joining us and being a part of helping us make All Souls in Tulsa what it is. Thank you.
I'm so glad we all have a guide. And that guide is love. Look over and tell somebody near you, that guide is love. Yeah. Love will guide us. Peace hath tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from grief to giving. Love will guide us through the heart. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from, from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Love will guide us. Peace hath tried us. Hope inside us. Hope inside us. We'll lead the way. On the road from grief to giving. Love will guide us. I just want you to moment right now. Come on, everybody, come on. Love will guide us. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us. We'll lead the way. On the road from grief to giving. Love will guide us through the heart.